Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of NRL Unpopular Opinions. I am your host, Ryan Cook, and joining me to dissect all of the Vegas action is my good friend, Liam Fogarty.
Hello, how are you, mate?
We're going well, boys. The king of the Capera Golf Club, Jharal Yow-Yeh.
Yeah, that's me, baby. It's going to be flooded this week. So all the breast out there to all the people playing on the course.
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through. And finally...
I thought hurricane season was over.
Oh, God.
And finally, let's extend a massive congratulations to Oscar and his wife, Gabby, who welcomed little baby Coda into the world over the weekend.
Thank you, boys.
Congrats, mates. How have the last few days of dad life been?
Pretty good, yeah. I mean, I've got the easy part of the job at the moment, don't I?
Yeah.
Shout out my Gabs did an amazing job, and Coda's healthy and happy, and we're loving it.
That's all that matters.
Stoked. And he arrived literally the day before round one kicked off. So by the time the footy was opening, 10 o'clock Sunday morning, I was on the couch, baby on chest. How good.
Did he enjoy Vegas?
He loved it.
Yeah, good.
Loved it.
It's really good. It's really
Take
good.
his eyes off the ball.
Can't wait till he keeps us awake all night as parents. It's a beautiful part of the world.
Lots to look forward to there, I'm
That's
sure.
it.
All right, boys, we've had 2 games of rugby league, real life rugby league, games that matter in Vegas over the weekend. Plenty to dissect. Before we get into the actual games and the actual teams, let's talk about what we did last year. This time last year, we spoke about Vegas, the general thoughts, the general improvements that the NRL could make around these 2 games. How do we feel about the weekend in comparison to last year?
I mean, I'm a bit of a skeptic of the whole thing. I think it's awesome from an event perspective, but I'm pessimistic as to how much of an impact we're going to make in the American market from a fan base or from a potential player base. Does that mean that it's not a lucrative venture for the NRL? I would assume a dude like PVL is not going to do things that are costing the game money. His track record suggests that he's a pretty shrewd operator. So I'm guessing that it's good for the game in some way or another, numbers or money or something. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm probably not the best
I think we as of this year, we were it was our most profitable year, correct? In the NRL, so which is a plus. So what you're saying is that us going there is not going to spend us a lot of money, which is great. It's good that it's on the the big screen over there for all of our American watchers, but I mean it was pretty devastating last year, right? When we got the numbers, it wasn't that great from their viewing. Yeah, they turned it off pretty quickly. Was it too much? Was there too many games? For us, no, because we're licking our chops, right, to watch footy. So we wanted to watch all 4 games. But if you're there and you're drinking piss, and I mean, it sounds like some people had a better time than others.
The Palms, the Raiders.
The Raiders, he's been tasered, which is really funny. Also, numbers of us breaking the record there in the first 60 minutes of beer drunk, which is always going to happen. I don't even think we were worried about that.
I read somewhere that the Las Vegas Raiders cut off beer at halftime. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, I guess that's why they tailgate as hard as they do.
Yeah.
There's something in that.
But I mean, that's a lot of money for them. It's like only $20 a pop a drink. I went there last year, the back end of last year, and went to the stadium, and it's an amazing stadium, but it is expensive. Look, I think that I don't mind it. I get excited for this time of the year anyway. So if you get a chance to go to Vegas and enjoy it as a fan from here or England, I think it's a plus for our game. Is it growing it? Possibly not. But I say keep it around for the 5 years and see where Peter V'landys takes it after that.
Everyone who's gone's frothed it. Like everyone's it's a mad trip. Like it sounds like Magic Round on steroids if you can afford to get yourself over there and if you can afford to take the time off. So, yeah, I mean, I'd love to get over there at some point. But, yeah, do we think that we're going to be getting American fans tuning in every week?
Well, that's the challenge, isn't it? Trying to not make it a boys' trip. It sounds weird to say that, but that's kind of what it is. And that's a lot about what Magic... correct. How do you get Americans watching?
Well, because it's all just Aussies and Kiwis and the Poms flying over. So, finding a way to get the actual locals in. Excited's probably the next big challenge.
And, of course, the Americans are going to say yes if it's making them money. I mean, look, you talk about the beer sales. It's already... And then you think about all the gambling that they've done, all the accommodation that they've picked up at a probably slow part of the year for them as well.
So NBA and hockey's the only thing on at the moment.
Yep.
NFL's done, and it's spring training for the baseball. So there isn't a heap of sport going around at the moment.
So it works from a scheduling perspective.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of when I was watching the first game, the announcers basically explaining the rules to us? A try's worth 4 points, like really basic stuff. Are you guys in favour of that? Because I've in the opinion, like I grew up watching NFL 15 years ago. They don't explain the rules to you. But
they're also,
they expect you just to follow it, and if you learn it yourself.
I suppose the way we probably look at it though, Ryan, is they're not watching it. We're not putting it on our TV. It's just purely on our TV because they're a bigger market than us. We're putting it on their TVs because we're a smaller market. So that's probably the only reason I could say that. We've been told, and our callers have been told to do that. It sounds weird because we obviously know the rules.
It stands out.
And it's Stan Ganane stepping you through the different ways to score points.
And the reason why we're having a restart here is because he's dropped it. I understand.
And he goes, you can get 2 points from a field goal beyond 40, but you don't see that often. And then 10 minutes later, Cleary bangs it.
But you know what? And it's actually when they're saying it, it's a crazy game we play. Like when they're explaining it, you go, yeah, Jesus, imagine. Like I try to explain it to my Canadian family and they're just like, it's just like crazy to them. My wife, who's lived here for so long, still doesn't understand parts of it. And
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, and there's so many. Why are we standing up and playing and pushing the ball through our legs? It's a really unusual sport if you haven't grown up with it.
And there's a lot of it that you don't have an answer for. It's like, why do you play the ball? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and he's just kicked a 40-20. Why do they get it back? Like 40-20 to me is. It blows my mind that we have that in the plays, and people are just like, why did you get it back then if he kicked it out? I thought it was the other thing. Anyway.
It makes us question everything.
It's very confusing.
I want to go back to a point that you made at the start there, Jharal. You seem to be of the opinion that 4 games isn't too many because I think the popular opinion has been that it is because by the time the Panthers and Sharks came out, about 40% of the crowd had gone.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of a long day, everyone on the piss with the bright lights of Vegas over their shoulder, and then the third game was an absolute whitewash, unfortunately, for the women's game. So, the people who stay were probably the ones who knew that Penrith Cronulla was going to be the best of the 4. I don't blame anyone from walking out at 3:30.
If you're taking piss away from the New Zealand fans, Australian fans, and the Poms, of course they're going to leave. If they've taken it away at halftime, I'm thinking we can go watch this in a casino, sit on a pokey, get free piss, and watch it on a big screen. Like it is hard. And
4 games is a slog.
It is a slog.
It's a slog at Magic Round.
Mate, I was going to say, even at Magic Round, I was so blind. I don't even remember what game I was. I left at the Waz and the halftime of their game, and it was the last one, and I just was like, I can't even be here anymore because one, I probably shouldn't be this drunk in this climate, being who I am. So I left, but I think it's probably one too long, and one of the products was not great for the game. I mean, like as much as it is good for our women to be showcased, 90 points to another side, I think that's maybe where you might have lost a few people because they go, well, is the other team going to turn up? What are the other? If you're someone who's going to watch this and you're an American, you think, oh, is this what the rest of the game is going to be like? Yeah. You're sort of just hoping that the people that are sitting next to you are going to tell you the truth that you've never met before. So it is tough. Yeah. Possibly the girls' game maybe should have went first. But anyway, well, look, it is what it is.
Probably should have been an NRLW game.
Yeah, and that's
for being honest.
Yeah, correct.
And then it's a scheduling issue with the timing of this.
Because theirs is not till the end of the season, correct.
Well, then there's an expectation, like they're expecting 94 points every game. And then it's like, you watch a slugfest like that Penrith Cronulla game and you're like, gee, where are all the points? Like, this is boring. Yeah, very different.
No, valid points there, boys. Speaking of fans, the Waz were probably the biggest turnout in Las Vegas, and they did have a lot to commiserate about. Big commiserations. Look, lots of questions coming out about Webster's side. Was it a bad game? Are they unfit? Are they uninspired? I tend to lean towards they're unfit. They just looked like they lacked a lot of direction in that game. Their attack was pretty lateral for most of it. We can talk about RTS. We can talk about Chance Nickel-Clockstad in a moment. But are you boys panicking about the Warriors
No,
yet?
I will say this, and hopefully you'll back me up.
I think I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they just did lack a little bit of direction from their halves, and when you lose that, you don't have your big boys going forward. You can't have Fish, who has been in an outfit that is so good in that aspect, lose his part of the game. He knows what he's got to do great, but if you can't go forward and you don't have a little bit of direction, their kicking game probably wasn't the greatest either from both of them, which is a huge part in how fast we play in this game in the NRL now. I would have to say I'd take nothing away from the Raiders. Their D-line was very, very good. They swarmed them a lot of the time. And that might have been because of the lack of direction that they did have from their halves, unfortunately. Well, can they get better? Obviously they will, and they can. I think the occasion probably got the better of them. And we know that sticky sides are... They're in for the nitty and gritty from the start. No matter what. There's been times we've run them down on here, but... Canberra are a team who want to get dirty straight away, and they got into their work pretty early. And once you lose that momentum, I think from the Wars, it was pretty hard to get back.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was close to, the better version of the Raiders attack.
Yeah.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they landed almost every offload that they threw. That just won't happen every week, but that's how Ricky's coached them to play footy. They don't play phases out. They don't play out phases in sets and hit spots on the field. They just got a heap of little ruck shapes and changes of angles, drops and tips and blocks that they use to create triggers. And then they go, oh shit, there's a little spot in the line, and then anyone on the field can take it. There was Seb Chris no try early in the game. Hudson Young ball playing on fifth tackle down a short side, because he saw that there was a defender peeling late and the winger dropped back for a kick. It's a really nice example. Like, they'll play footy from anywhere. Yeah. And I think you're right. Ricky had him up for that one.
Yeah.
And the Wars, directionless, because they've got two very young, inexperienced guys in the halves right now.
Who are probably runners. Like
they're both runners.
They're both runners in their both respected how they play their games. They're not game creators. They don't look after a game very well, and that's something that they're very, being young in a NRL outfit in Vegas, it's going to be hard to do. Yeah. So I don't take...
And behind a beaten pack.
Yeah, correct.
Like Ricky's... Even the narrow fields, I think, played into Canberra's favour in that game. Yep. Big forward pack that works hard. They don't play a lot of expansive footy. We saw a few... the Wars did look lateral.
Yeah.
There was a few movements where the first or second pass goes, I'm like, oh shit, they're on here. And then they ran out of room.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have that extra 5 metres. RTS got wrapped up by Savage a couple of times.
They swing a lot, Warriors.
And they swing heaps.
They swing a lot when they play, they're out of the back. And that's why Dallin is so good at finishing the way he does, because he jumps out. And I think that you're right, probably, Oscar. They ran out of room. But take nothing away from Canberra. They turned up. They had a bit of a mishap during the week, and they turned it around.
Just putting it lightly.
Yeah, they turned it around, and for them, it was a perfect way for them to start their season.
I think you'd be pretty encouraged by what you saw if you're a Canberra fan as well, because the first 30 minutes, they had some errors. They were a little bit impatient on attack. But they kind of were happy to play that risk versus reward style of footy, like you spoke about, the offloads, Oscar, and that worked out for them. Be interesting to see if that's how they play for the rest of the year. But back to the Wars, there's been a bit of chat about RTS on the wing. Is that the right spot for him? We always have this conversation, it feels like, every single year. Are you guys sold on him being there?
I just think, I am. I just think that he just didn't get a chance to. This game was hard for him to... we talk about being open field, but he's running back to a middle of a pack that is tight. So for him to beat people one-on-one when they're shoulder to shoulder is really tough, and you take away that little bit extra room. They really took him out of the game. They didn't kick to him a lot in the first half, and then I think... They were just behind the 8 ball.
He still had 200 metres in the try.
Correct.
Yeah.
He went and looked for the ball as well. His carries were very strong. He wasn't getting dominated. I think they need to stay with it.
Yeah.
And I think that he will be better for the run in that position. He looks in a really good nick right now. Probably better nick than he was when he first came back to the NRL.
100%.
So I think that he's going to. If the Warriors are going forward, he's going to be very hard to stop.
It's crazy to think that was a down game for him because 200 meters, a try, millimeters away from a second one.
That's crazy.
Let him bigger field. Let him cook.
They just all need time. Ali Leitao had a couple of bad reads in defence, and then he had a couple of runs where you go, "What the where's this guy come from?" You know. And then Chanel and Metcalf. I thought this is what you were about to say before, Ryan. The talk's already started that Tamati Martin needs to come back into that side because of how good they looked in the trial with the three of them on the field together. That trial was against a Melbourne side that didn't show up that day. So I think any of us would have been made to look good in that Warriors side on that day. And if you're playing Tamati at fullback, you lose all the work that Chance does, which you need in the high quality, top tier, tight games. So there's some tinkering to be done there, but I think there was enough from Metcalf and Chanel. I mean, Metcalf chooses the different pass on that left edge. Instead of Savage going the length, Adam Pompey goes over and suddenly it's, 12-4 or something, whatever it was early in the game. So they weren't good, but I don't think they were as bad
Canberra's
as
back five were good on the day. I thought they carried the ball really well, found their front, put their nose through when they needed to, and that's what got the Raiders to start.
Tamali's good, isn't he?
Xavier Savage, ball playing as well, on the wing, from the wing. Like, what the heck? Like, coming in field and skipping across and throwing those balls. He did that a fair bit throughout the game. So, watch this space. I mean, he didn't start at he didn't play at fullback because we know they've got a class act in KO Weeks, but I think that Xavier Savage playing that roaming role on the wing was pretty good for them.
Origin Smoky.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that.
I thought Canberra's forwards were really good too. Big Sauce looks like he's in for an absolutely huge year. Yep. Look, let's talk about some of the refereeing blunders before we get to the Sharks-Panthers game. The Cam McInnes denied opportunity to challenge was the big talking point from the round. And I also noticed that some of the NRL said they're going to crack down on the play the ball. And they did that during the preseason, but then they didn't really call it much at all.
I think it was one. I think they might have been
Horsburgh one.
Yeah,
I think.
the Horsburgh. Yeah. Through that the whole day.
Do you think that's because they were in Vegas and they're like, this is an advertisement for the game?
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to be calling the little silly stuff.
That sounds like exactly
let the boys
the
play.
decision the NRL would make. Let's bring in a new rule, but we're not going to use it this week for this reason, and then we might not use it the other. That's the NRL.
Happened in Vegas last year. There were some massive hits that were play on, but then you come into the rest of round one and boys were getting fined.
For high shots.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that. We'll see it throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, there'll be heaps of penalties for it. Like, 100%. There will be. We should get an over and unders on that. How many penalties?
Bit of ref ball
in the weekend. Bit of ref ball because I think that we're going to find that we're going to see a lot over the weekend, especially back here in Australia.
We're either frustrated because they're not calling things, or we're frustrated because they're calling too much. You can't win. All right, Sharks Panthers easily the game of the weekend. Panthers prevail, but look, it was glass half full for the Sharks. Surely they really showed that they're up to being a top four side again this season, even though there are a few question marks. AFB looks like he's going to be in for a huge year. Yep. His influence was already in full effect. And Oscar, I know you're pretty keen to talk about this.
Very excited.
Heard up. Yeah, the Sharks' first try, Jesse Ramian sliced her on the right edge. That was a full planned set from Cronulla. Talked about Canberra not playing out phases in a set. The Sharks' tackle one was an Adam Fanua-Blake hit up to the middle, put a bit of work into Penrith's middle. Then Nikora takes one on the right edge, puts a bit of work into Penrith's left edge, which is the spot that they're about to target 2 tackles later. So putting some fatigue into the defensive line. And then Adam Fanua-Blake sits one off the ruck on the open side of the field as a decoy. Moses Leota, his A defender, flies off his line at Adam and then has to change his angle as the pass goes to McInnes. That lets McInnes get a quick play of the ball, and then the same thing happens on the right edge. Again, Leota, I think, was at A, has to check Adam, who runs the decoy. Braden Trindle sweeps really late, and then the edge was isolated. I think Jharal, as you said, Luke Garner made a poor decision, but he was under so much pressure because of what was happening on his inside. So, I love that. Adam not even touching the ball in the 2 tackles leading up to a try, but you can put that one down to his influence.
That's why you're on this show, mate. Great breakdown as always.
I can see it in my mind.
Are we going to get a shirt with his face on it? I saw
it'll be coming. The Adam Fanua-Blake shrug is one of the best celebrations in the game right now, right? So, that'll be on a T-shirt soon.
What do we make of Trindle potentially taking kicking duties off Nico Hines? Is that going to be a thing this year?
Like general play?
Yeah.
I think they'll share it. I think they're two genuine kickers. And
Well, they had to, right? They have
such
to
a
because-
good option to
well,
have.
Yeah, but you can't have like we know how targeted Nico Hines is in the game now. Like we know that a lot of the work's going to go through him. So you have to have two kickers in this day and age. You can't really. It's so I think they're definitely going to be shared.
And I think the more that Trindle is on third, fourth, fifth tackle, Trindle's the guy getting the ball to a spot on the field and getting himself to a spot on the field to produce that kick. That frees up Nico to scan the line, and if he sees something on a short side on fifth, they'll go it. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful balance. Still super keen on the Sharks this year.
Yeah, sorry, Fogs, you go.
The last 2 seasons, Penrith's round 1 clash has been what ends up being the grand final.
Yeah.
So it was Penrith Broncos and then Penrith Storm last year.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Penrith Sharks in the
Nice.
grand final this year.
like
Question
it.
mark.
I like it.
Big rap Jesse Raymond. I thought he had an outstanding game.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, a lot of carries. I think he took 22 carries, and 195 meters in the centres. He looked dangerous every time he got the ball. I'm not sure how I feel about Luke Garner.
He won't be there
in the
for long,
centres. Yeah, like I think he makes them look good. Very well. He looks very
sorry.
worrying in defensively.
Is it just
them.
his mobility? Like he's just probably more of a back rower.
Yeah,
than a centre, so
definitely.
he's not as quick.
And he
laterally.
gets up really hard, which being in a back row position, you have to do that. Get off the line. I think he might get up too quick and in front of his inside man. And I just think that there's going to be a lot of targets over him over the next couple of weeks if he plays there.
He'll learn pretty quick.
Yeah,
They've got options. They've got Paul Alamotti's there. They've got Asu Kapoa, who they brought over from the Tigers.
I'd be surprised if he didn't play next week in that position.
You reckon he'll be there again?
No, I don't reckon he will.
You don't? Yeah.
No, I don't reckon he will.
Couple of little betting moves I meant to mention earlier when we were talking about the Wars and the Green Machine. Wars are into $7 now for the spoon. We spoke last week about why Canberra was favourites for the spoon.
That's short.
So yeah, the Raiders are now out to $15.
Yeah,
so
good.
that's
Well, they were
that
short
makes
earlier,
sense.
weren't they? How much short?
they were around that $7 mark last
gotcha.
week.
Yep.
So is it Dragons favourites now?
I think they're $6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting market. We're going to take a break and then we're going to come back and preview a couple of key games coming up this weekend. You're listening to NRL Unpopular Opinions. We're about to get into some of the upcoming games as round 1 continues. Look, Jharal, you've already sprayed me for picking the Tigers and the Knights to preview on Friday
I haven't
night.
just sprayed you. I mean, the heck are we thinking? It's a 5 p.m. Like when I finish work on a Friday arvo, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, good luck to them both, but I've picked one to be the wooden spoon and the other one who's in a rebuild for the last 20 years. So anyway.
So that's the preview. We're done.
Yeah, moving on. Short and sweet this week.
When I wrote the run sheet, the Tigers were the favourites last night, but they now drifted out to close to $2. Knights have won 6 in a row over West. We're getting our first look at Luai, of course, in a Tigers jersey. And do we get to hear the Wiggles victory song that they've reportedly recorded for the Tigers? Yeah.
What?
I only learned about this yesterday.
Oh, so hold on. He was a part of the Wiggles.
He was there the other day. Yeah.
Big Tigers, man.
Good son.
Yeah.
The blue one's a big West boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's him.
What Wiggle is he? The black one?
And-
Or-
Jerome. You can say that. I don't think anyone else can.
I'll leave that one alone.
Moving on.
Any level of excitement about watching this new Tigers team? Surely.
Look, I'm excited to watch them to see where they're at because, I mean, how long have we been waiting? What they haven't made the final since 2011. So I mean,
It's been a long time.
they have got some key players there now who are on some big money. They need to start producing for this club.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for the fan base. So the only reason I am excited to watch this is to see if they are going to live up to the hype because there's been a lot of talk about them over the preseason. Benji Marshall's second year as head coach. And I got a lot of faith in Benj. I think he's a very footy smart and people manager, person. So let's see where they go, but I'm not excited that they're at 5 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah. I think that's part of the reason, though, why I did pick this game is because it's a proven moment for the Tigers, but also for the Knights because they kind of weren't deserving of playing finals last year. But there's been a lot of talk, as we said last week, about their halves pairing and their preseason was pretty good. But
did we get any closer to knowing who it's going to be?
Yeah.
In the halves. I don't. Yeah, we say the same thing every week about the Knights. you asking, is this game going to be interesting to watch when Kalen Ponga is playing, says it all. Like, it should be interesting with KP on the field. So if the Knights can figure it out, then I think it will be an interesting game because KP looked as good as I've ever seen him during the trials. And then for the Tigers, Luai's the big watch. What he can do for Lachlan Galvin, I think, is going to be the biggest watch. They don't need to win games to start the year for it to be an improvement or for there to be evidence that they're going to be better off come round 27.
Yep.
I think look at what Jamal Fogarty did for Ethan Strange in the Raiders game in Vegas, putting him into positions, telling him where to go. After that little line break Starling scored, Strange's left side player, break happened on the left side, Fogarty grabs him, pulls him over to the right edge, and Ethan Strange provides the last pass for Savage to score on the right edge. So I think Luai can do that for Galvin, and Galvin's ceiling's, so high. So it's exciting. It should be exciting and interesting to watch. Yeah, I think so.
Fingers crossed. Look, we were going to talk about Finns and Rabbits, but because we're recording this on a Tuesday, we don't know what the weather's doing up here in Queensland. We're going to skip that one and talk about the Dargs and the Dogs Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Both these sides averaged around 17 points a game last year, 14th and 15th respectively. Dogs won both meetings last season. Interestingly enough, the Dogs have won only one of the last 8 round 1 games.
Yeah, wow.
So that's an interesting stat. Prove it year for the Dogs. I said last week that the expectations are high, something they haven't had for a long time. And then the Dragons are a new look team as well. How are we seeing this one playing out?
I like the Dragons, hey.
$2.50 mark?
I can't believe you've just said that after what we discussed off air. Shit.
Mate, I've been wrong so many times on this podcast before, as the comment section will tell you.
Can't hide here.
No.
Unpopular opinion. You cannot hide.
I just think they've got a lot more to go in their attack. That left edge I talked about last week. Flanagan, Luciano Leilua, Clint Gutherson, Val Holmes, and whoever that left wing is going to be. I think already we've seen a lot of repeatable actions through there, repeatable scoring actions that do the Dogs have that in their toolkit. We know they work super hard in D. And we talked about wanting to see a bit more of their attack. So, I think they both profile similarly as hard-working teams. Maybe for me, I think the Dragons have a bit more attacking upside right now.
Bit of value there in the market. All right, boys, we've got to get into the multi. Last week, not so good. We went 2 from 4. Jharal, your leg got up.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And so did yours, Fogs.
Yep. That's what we do.
So to recap, we had the under in the Raiders-Warriors game.
That's going to be your tattoo.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, yeah.
As I said, 2 from 4. We don't need to recap the legs. We need to talk about punishments, though, because we've sort of flirted with this in years past.
What did we come up with last year? What did you...
locking you in a cupboard was one?
Claustrophobic. We were just going to...
I will fight every single one of these. I can't do that. That would ruin my life.
Yeah. That was it. It was like, if anyone got it wrong, we were just locking you in a cupboard, I think.
It would have made for great content. Watching that video of
definitely
a closed cupboard door.
What if I died?
Great for us, not so great for you. Right?
Rich can finally get his start on the podcast.
Yeah. Look, Oscar, you just flirted with the idea of a tattoo. We've spoken off air about committing to this.
Yep.
At the end of the year, whoever's got the worst record on the multi goes into the glory hole.
Shout out.
Yeah. The tattoo glory hole. Everyone. So
let's get some rules. Get some rules.
Well, the rules are, look, I got this in a glory hole. This was actually from Ranger Stacey. Sounds weird. So put my arm in a tattoo glory hole.
So many layers.
And got it tattooed. My favourite animal, Aussie animal, is a wombat. So that's Warren. He joins us on the podcast every week and for the rest of my life. But I think that we go somewhere down that path. At the end of the year, we have a glory hole tattoo done to one of us.
Yep.
Now, there's got to be some rules. I think partners have to be contacted if you do come last or you are... You have to sort of run it by the better half.
They sign the
Upper
waiver.
management.
They sign off on it. They sign off on it, okay?
My wife makes all my decisions for me anyway, so that's okay.
Mine doesn't. Thank God. Love you, doll. But I think that's the way we go with it. So I've got a friend who's got a tattoo parlour that we can use.
Yep.
We'll have to go there because, for infection reasons, we just do the right thing. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the season, whoever's got the worst tally on the Unpopular Opinion NRL podcast, they put their arm in a glory hole for tattoos.
I'm all for it.
Done.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Oscar. You're the only one with no tattoos.
No, I got a
You
couple.
got a couple. Okay.
Yeah, they're in secret
Yeah,
spots.
are in secret
Bro, you should see my back.
Okay,
He's got your name on his card.
I guess here's the final question. Do we start fresh this week?
No.
We've got the challenge.
No.
Fair enough. I mean, we're 1-0 up, so...
You're up. Good for
Yeah,
you
exactly.
for offering that.
Yeah.
No. We'll cop the loss from last week.
All right.
So does that move us straight into the multi of this week?
It does.
Yep,
It
beautiful.
does. Oscar, you have the first leg.
Manly head-to-head against the Cows. I
Yeah.
loved... I think I said last week, I think Manly can win the comp this year. I'm not saying they will. I'm a bit worried about the Cowboys' defence, particularly on their edges, where we know the Seagulls attack so expansive, so many different shapes through Olakau'atu on that right edge in particular. So, up the Dirty Birds.
$1.53 for Manly. We're going to go to the Dragons Dogs game. We've got 2 legs from this one. I'm going to go over 39.5 points. New look Dragons team, Lomax on the wing. Dogs should be out with a point to prove. I just think that line's just a little bit low. And then Fogs, you are tipping that game as well.
Yeah, I've just straight up got the Bulldogs to win. I think I disagree with everything Oscar said earlier. I don't rate the Dragons at all. Yep. I think they'll be nothing without Ben Hunt. So, give me the Dogs.
Did you just say Lomax on the wing? He's not on the wing for the Dragons.
No, he's in Sarah now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
sorry.
rattled me then.
Yeah,
I was like,
not Lomax. Yeah.
Wait,
Sloan.
what the
I'm
hell?
4 weeks behind.
Jesus, you rattled the heck out of me then. Is it mine?
It is, and we've got
It
our
is.
first Broncos leg for the year.
Yeah, and
in round one.
I'm going. They call me Big Nuts JYY at home. Just my wife does anyway. I'm going
mirror.
Broncos 13 plus at 255. I honestly think with the way that they've played their trials, the way that these boys are, with Ben Hunt, in the halves as well with Renault, I just think there's a lot of points in these boys this week, and I'm backing my Bronx in for 13 plus. Their 1 to 12 is 280, so it's shorter to be 13 plus against the Roosters. So 255.
This has boosted the odds significantly for us, and we needed it. So we got over 39.5, Dogs Dragons, Dogs to win, Manly to win, Broncos 13 plus, $10.53.
Yeah, beautiful boys. It's a good way to start off the season, and we need one straight away.
Get the monkey off the back.
Get the monkey off the back. Like honestly,
Was it round 1 last year? Was our last hit?
No, we didn't hit
We didn't hit one.
No, we didn't.
Thanks for bringing that up.
That's a good. If we go another season,
We all have to.
We all get in there.
Yeah,
We all get it.
I think that's
fair.
fair.
Even you, Rich.
That's fair.
You're in on this.
Rich is-
You're in this room.
He doesn't even know what's going on.
Yep, that was a thumbs up for everyone.
I honestly think that we will get this one off the mark, boys. I honestly do. I'm confident. I don't want to see anyone pussying out on bets as well this year.
Well,
Just because you're not up because of the tattoo,
Yeah.
you either go in deep or get out of the
No
podcast.
Penrith alternate lines.
Melbourne Storm at $1.28 was calling my name.
Oh, how good's life.
All right, lads, we're about to get out of here. What are we looking forward to this weekend?
Oh, I mean, footy's back. I'm looking forward to, and probably Fogs as well, the new look Brisbane Broncos with Dozer in it. Yeah, I just think they've got a window now of the next couple of years, this year and next year. So we've got to take it. I think the Broncos are going to get off to a great start.
Oscar?
Looking for a statement from the Melbourne Storm. We know their round 1 record is good. I can't believe none of us took.
I haven't spoken about that.
leg.
Well, he just sprayed us about not getting ballsy.
True,
so
true.
the $1.28 leg was.
We didn't like it.
I'd like it a lot. I really like it.
In fact,
Yeah.
I think they might put a cricket score on Parramatta here. Yeah, they were poor in both trials, which I
Prodigal
think they'll
son
care about
returns.
too much. But I'm very keen to see what Craig Bellamy rolls out for round 1.
Speaking of cricket, I doubt there's any cricket on this weekend,
No,
Fox.
big cyclone coming. I can't wait to go boogie boarding in a stormwater drain. I think all our listeners should
Oh my
too.
God. Clip that, Rich. If he's not here next week.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Or do it.
Wouldn't be the first time Cyclone Alfie comes through Brisbane, Vegas.
Did you like that one yesterday?
I did like that one.
is
I like that one. Was that you, was it?
Yeah,
of course it was. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, JYY. Thank you, Fogs. We'll be back next week to recap round 1.
See ya.
Chee-hoo.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website